Welcome, dear students. I am Dr. Rajiv Oberoi. So, in the previous video, we have dealt with the limitation of Rutherford model. Now, we begin with very important the Bohr's atomic model. So, as you know, that this is being proposed by Niels Bohr. So, let us discuss the postulate of Bohr's atomic model. So, this model says number one, according to Bohr's atomic model, in an atom, all positive charge particle, that is proton, condense or unite together to form the positively charged core at the center of the atom, which is termed as nucleus. This has already been proved by Rutherford. So what Bohr is using? He is using the concept from the Rutherford model. He says that in an atom, all positive charge particle, that is proton, condense to form the nucleus at the center of the atom, around which the electron revolve in a circular path, which are termed as orbit. So the first point is that in an atom, all positive charge particle, that is proton, condense to form nucleus at the center of the atom, around which electron revolve, and the space in which electron revolve are termed as orbit. Now, as we have already discussed that this much part has already been proposed by Rutherford, then what's new in this model? Why this model is more accepted than the Rutherford model? So further we proceed. What are orbits? What are orbits? So we say orbits are the energy levels. Remember, orbits are energy levels. Now remember that orbit are termed as energy levels. Orbit are energy levels, and for any electron to enter into a particular orbit, it must possess energy equal to the energy of the orbit. Now this was not specified by Rutherford. Now what Bohr is saying, he says that what are orbits? So orbits are energy level, and for any electron to enter into a particular orbit, it must possess energy equal to the energy of the orbit. Now remember that orbits are represented by n. So say this is the nucleus around which there are numerous orbits. This is the nucleus around which there are numerous orbits. First orbit is equal to n1, second orbit is equal to n2, third orbit is equal to n3, fourth orbit is equal to n4. I told you orbit are represented by n. For first orbit value of n is 1, for second orbit value of n is 2, for third orbit value of n is 3, for fourth orbit value of n is 4, so on. So the information that is given, so remember n is equal to 1 means first orbit, n is equal to 2 means second orbit, n is equal to 3 means third orbit, n is equal to 4 means fourth orbit. Now remember that orbits are also termed as shells. Orbits are also termed as shells. So n is equal to 1 means first orbit, K shell, n is equal to 2 means second orbit, L shell, L is equal to 3 means third orbit, M shell, and so on. So first orbit, second orbit, third orbit, fourth orbit, so on, K shell, L, M, and so on. Now as we have specified that what are orbits, so I said orbits are energy levels. So n is equal to 1 means first orbit, that is first energy level, n is equal to 2 means second orbit, that is second energy level, n is equal to 3 means third orbit, third energy level, n is equal to 4 is fourth orbit, fourth energy level. Now suppose if energy of first orbit is E1, that of second orbit is E2, that of third orbit is E3, that of fourth orbit is E4, and so on. So what is the trend of energy level? Trend of the energy level. So remember, energy of the first orbit, that is E1, is smallest, Energy of the second orbit, that is E2, is comparatively higher, E3 is still higher, E4 is still higher, and so on. So the energy of the first orbit is least, of the second is comparatively more, third is comparatively more, and so on. Now remember that smaller is the orbit. We know that first orbit is the smallest orbit. So smaller the orbit, lower the energy. Larger the orbit, higher the energy. Smaller orbit, lower energy. Larger the orbit, higher would be the energy. The first orbit is the smallest orbit, therefore its energy is lowest. Or we can say that energy of the orbit increases as we move away from the nucleus. So as we move away from the nucleus, the energy of the orbit, it increases, meaning energy of first orbit is least, and as we move away from the nucleus, energy keep increasing. So this was about the first postulate. So this is the first postulate. So let me repeat in the brief. This first postulate says that in an atom, all positive charge particle, that is proton, condense to form nucleus at the center of the atom, around which electron revolve. The space in which electron revolve are termed as orbit. What are orbits? These orbits are circular path. These are energy levels. Various energy levels, that is various orbit in an atom, is possible. Energy of the first orbit is least, and as we move away from the nucleus, the energy keeps increasing. This is first postulate of Bohr's model. Now coming on to the second postulate, which says as long as electron revolve in the same orbit, it neither absorb energy nor it evolve energy by itself, therefore continue to move in the same energy level, that is in the same orbit, which means that electron spontaneously do not change its orbit. Electron spontaneously do not change in its orbit, continue to revolve in the same. Why this point is needed? This is because this was the major objection in Rutherford model. This was the major objection in the Rutherford model. In the Rutherford model, we have already discussed that there is a positive charge nucleus at the center around which electron revolve, and it has been said that the electron which is revolving around the nucleus, it emits the electromagnetic radiation, therefore its energy decreases and it is moving toward the nucleus, and after a while it will collapse with the nucleus. Just to overcome this, problem, what Bohr is saying? He is saying as long as electron revolve in the same orbit, it neither evolve energy nor it absorb energy, do not undergo any kind of energy change by itself, that is it do not spontaneously change its orbit, and hence continue to revolve in the same orbit. Electron do not change its orbit by its own, that is the shrinking of the orbit is not possible. It has been rejected in Bohr's model. The shrinking of the orbit, which was the major problem in case of Rutherford model, is been rejected by Bohr, saying electron do not change its orbit by itself. Now in the third postulate, this theory says that if electron is provided with extra energy, then it get transferred to higher energy level. If we provide electron with extra energy, it get transferred to higher energy level. Similarly, if the electron may transferred to lower energy by losing its energy. So in the second point, it is said that electron spontaneously do not change its orbit, hence continue to revolve in the same orbit. But in this point, it has been said that the change in the orbit is possible by providing extra energy to the electron or by taking energy from the electron. So it says that if we provide extra energy to the electron, electron get transferred to higher energy level. Similarly, electron may get transferred to the lower energy level by losing its energy. So by itself it will not change its orbit, but extra energy given or energy taken from the electron may change its orbit. This is possible. Now suppose if electron is present in first orbit, suppose if we want to transfer electron from, if electron is to be transferred from first energy level to second energy level, first energy level to second energy level. So energy of first orbit is E1, that of second orbit is E2. In order to bring about this transfer, some energy is needed, which is termed as del E, and del E is the difference of two energies. So if I want to shift a electron from first energy level to second energy level, that is from first orbit to second orbit, then energy difference of the two energies need to be given to the system. So E2 is energy of the second, E1 is the energy of the first. The difference of the two is del E, which need to be given to the electron for making transfer of the electron from first orbit to second orbit. Now similarly, if electron need to be transferred from first orbit to third orbit, energy of first orbit is E1, that of second orbit, third orbit is E3. The difference of two energies, that is E3 minus E1, is again del E. This energy would be needed to transfer a electron from first orbit to third orbit. So in the next point, that is fourth postulate, it says that the angular momentum of electron revolving in a circular path, that is orbit, is integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. Now we know that mass into velocity is termed as momentum, and when mass and velocity is multiplied by radius, it is called as angular momentum. So m into v into r is termed as angular momentum. So we say the electron which is revolving in an orbit, that is circular path, the electron which is revolving in an orbit, that is circular path, its angular momentum, the angular momentum of electron which is revolving in the orbit is integral multiple of h upon 2 pi. So mass into velocity is momentum, but mass into velocity into radius is termed as angular momentum, and Bohr says that angular momentum mvr is angular momentum. This angular momentum is n into h upon 2 pi, n into h upon 2 pi. So what is m? It is mass of electron, v is velocity of electron, r is radius of the orbit, n is number of the orbit, and h is